Live with Nikki Show. I'm so excited to be joined by Samantha Montpetit-Huyn. Did I pronounce Win?
That's okay. Everybody does that. Sam MH is what I call myself.
So say it again.
So think of win
with
an H in front of it.
So Samantha
Montpetit-Huynh.
It's a very sexy name. It has like a little lingo to it.
Thank you.
Anyway, Sam is a pelvic floor and body confidence coach. I met her at the baby show 7 years ago, and she assessed me for Diastasis Recti, the mommy belly. So all of you guys that have that mushy belly and you don't know what to do with it, this is the woman. She has been a resident fitness expert on the Marilyn Denis Show. She's been on CTV, CHCH, basically breakfast television, I think any media outlet possible.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And so she knows her shit.
Yeah.
And we are so excited. So if you guys have questions, start asking them now, because I'm going to go over some hot topics with you guys, and we'll be answering them for you. And you can private message us if you don't want to leave it publicly. Honestly, I'm so excited to have you here. So thank you for joining us. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's really educational for moms, because I didn't know what diastasis was at all before I met you at the baby show. I remember, I'll never forget, we were in the booth, I'm going by, and you're like, okay, lay down, and you assessed me, and anyway, we'll get into it all.
Yes.
But I still have a little bit of separation, and you gave me this belly band, which we'll get into, to suck it all back in after having a baby. But I didn't know that either. And actually, my sister-in-law was going to, she had the baby before me, or second, and she had to wear the band all the time.
Oh, good.
And I didn't know. She didn't explain it to me, and I didn't know what she was wearing it for. So, like, a lot of times you don't really get,
And the interesting thing that I'm sure your viewers are going to find is, since I started seeing you when I first met you 7 years ago, the research and evidence has really changed. So we can
get into all that.
Yeah.
So, guys, according to the latest hot topics, Gisele Bündchen, supermodel that could breastfeed in one hand and get ready for a photo shoot, has been suffering from anxiety. She went on a bumpy airplane ride, and ever since then, she's been scared of small places, enclosed places, basically claustrophobia.
Okay.
And she's coming out with a memoir, Lessons of My Path to a Meaningful Life, talking about everything. And she said she felt powerless and like her world was becoming smaller and smaller, and she couldn't breathe. So a lot of moms, she said it was the worst feeling she ever had. She actually contemplated suicide. I just got the chills.
And this whole thing started with her...
A bumpy airplane ride.
You know what's funny is I find that the older we get, the more neurotic we get. Or at least myself. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of other mothers.
She's 38.
Because now as we get older and we're parents and we know we have children, the slightest hint of danger is like, oh my God, and we overanalyze and we freak out. I mean, my daughter's 17th birthday is today, and she tells me yesterday happy birthday, Rio. But she says she wants to go skydiving, and I'm like, if you go, you better just come back and tell me that you've gone, because you better not tell me when you're going, because I'll have to like check myself into an institution. So I feel I can kind of relate to Gisele.
And you know, it's funny because Will Smith just went bungee jumping for his 50th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just telling a friend, I'm like, I used to go on the fly thing. I was in the middle, and I'd be like, 1, 2, 3, fly.
Yeah, that's what my daughter does.
But apparently it boosts your mood.
Well, because you're happy you're alive.
Exactly.
That's why.
Exactly. But also, you know, moms, a lot of like, I have a friend currently that I'm just talking to, and it's actually upsetting. I won't mention names, but she's going through postpartum. And I didn't really know anyone that actually went through it. And it's devastating. Like, what she's going through is horrible. It's isolating. And that's partly the reason why I started PINK&BLUE, was for all of you moms to connect with one another. I mean, it's to share information and advice and everything else, but it's sometimes being a mom could be so isolating.
Oh,
so
sometimes?
I mean, yeah.
More than, like, let's be honest.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
So,
even 17 years later.
Right.
We all need a space. We need a safe space.
So if you guys are going through a hard time, you know, message one of our admins. We can help you get in touch with somebody that can help you. Message a friend. Reach out. I mean, it's crazy how many people are coming out now with mental awareness and mental health, and what a big thing it is. I mean, especially bullying and all that. I mean, that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole other show.
Anyway, so I don't know about you, but I can never remember when garbage day is or recycling day.
Oh, my husband takes care of that.
My husband does too, but when he's not around, like when he's going away next month,
you panic.
Homesprout.ca, I just came across this when I was doing my research for my hot topics. Okay. Homesprout.ca, they will message you or email you on if it's garbage day or recycling day. So like, this is perfect for moms.
Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Moms, with all this social media, I'm guilty of it too. Mm-hmm. And I like to be very real on social media. My friend of mine actually I was like, I love you. Yeah. So, but sometimes people are taking it too far. They want their YouTube career to skyrocket and they don't know when enough is enough. Two parents took ink as a prank and put it all over their kids' floor and then screamed their heads off at the kids where the kid was in hysterics, crying that he didn't do it. And
didn't this go on a little while ago, or there was something else that the parents, maybe this is another one, there was something else where the parents pranked the kid and blamed him and he had himself so worked up at the end. And then they were joking, but the kid was hysterical.
Right, he was hysterical. They took away 2 out of the 5 kids from the parents. So they're like saying, warning, like on the news feed, warning, parents, don't do it. And I'm like, no, this isn't a warning. That's like cruelty to do that. Like, there's a little, people are so crazy with their YouTube fanatic anything to get attention. So, and listen, I'm doing my live show every week, so I'm guilty of it, but I would never, that was just, I could not imagine. Like, the kid was so...
I don't know if it's
especially maybe, we're laughing after.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's my age, because I'm up there. I mean, I've got a 17-year-old, so it kind of gives you an idea. But
couldn't tell.
Thank you. Maybe I'm a bit of a prude, but that was one thing about social media, is that I never wanted to expose my kids when they're vulnerable on... Right. Like, I only post pictures of them smiling, even though most of my friends know, like, I'm saying happy birthday to my daughter today, and one of my girlfriends is on there going, yeah, even though most of the time you want to pull your hair out, so I just, like, put smiley face, right? But I don't want my kids to go back and go, wow, you actually exposed me on social media so you could get more likes or shares or whatever that is, right? Like...
But the thing
let them do that themselves, like they're doing a good enough job on Instagram.
The thing that's crazy to me also is that, and it's scary because my oldest is 7, is that they're growing up in this world where, like, we're adults, okay? And we're not getting enough likes, and we're not getting enough things, and why did somebody comment on or watch my Insta story? What is going to happen to them?
Oh,
like,
it's already
I don't
happening.
know if I'm going to not let my kid be on Instagram or
happening.
Facebook. Like, I might not, because... Or if they're not invited to something, they see, like, it's
so while we're just talking about, before you go to the next topic, so if anybody's not heard about this yet, maybe not because your kids are younger, but it came to my older daughter's school when she was in junior high, a movie called Screenagers. Okay. And it talks about screens and how it affects tweens and teens. It's very impactful. Watch it with your kids. Okay. And it sheds a whole new light on how it is affecting Screenagers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Too bad we can't go to Blockbuster, right?
I know, right?
Netflix. So this is something interesting. City of Vancouver just took wearable green plastic ashtrays that smokers could have that they attach to them. It's almost like a mini wallet. I think it has a flap and closes. And they put their used butts in it, and it's part of their movement to clean up, to clean up the environment as their anti-littering campaign. What do you guys think? But I have to say that when my father-in-law was quitting smoking, part of it was that they had to take their ashtray butts in a jar and carry it around with them wherever they went. So they could smell, every time they opened it up, they would smell that disgusting smell. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, they're taking also, that's a campaign to, like, actually give them money back if they turn in their used butts and stuff, because they would take the filters and the old cigarette butts and turn it into like plastic benches and break it down and recycle it. So Toronto Business Improvement Association is now on the next bandwagon after Vancouver.
Oh. Ew.
So I don't know, just quit smoking.
Yeah, right?
Or get a vape pen, we're all for it.
Right.
It's legal,
It'll be either that or marijuana.
That's what I'm saying. Get a vape pen.
Yeah.
I don't know. CBD oil is like the new big thing. Actually, my rheumatologist told me to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a little scared of it.
What?
I don't know. I haven't ordered it.
You know what's interesting? A girlfriend of mine owns a health food store, and she's really upset that marijuana use you'll be able to smoke anywhere you can smoke cigarettes publicly.
They're saying that you can't smoke in your apartments.
But CBD oil is not legal.
Oh, really?
Which is ridiculous. Not for recreational use. Like
right.
You can't just go buy it. You have to get a prescription, but you can just go recreational use of marijuana.
CBD oil is what's helping people. The world is going.
I digress.
The world is going to different. So I want to welcome Sam. You're a mother of two beautiful girls. She is a pelvic floor rehab coach and prenatal and postnatal expert.
I do it all.
She has been in the industry for 15 years. She's amazing. This is her. She makes moms reconnect with their bodies, feel strong, and gain confidence after having a baby and getting that mommy mushiness. So,
loving your mommy mushiness.
Yeah, she's gonna make. So leave your comments, drop us an emoji, tell us what you feel about it, how you felt getting your body back, how you got your body back. We want to know. So tell us about you. I know that you started Bellies.
Yeah, well, actually, so many moons ago, I started a company called Core Expectations.
Yeah, I know. When I was writing my notes down, I was like, "Didn't you have Core Expectations?"
Yes.
I was like, maybe.
So I'm kind of like I'm like a serial entrepreneur. So I had started Core Expectations.
My kind of lady.
Yeah, after my 13-year-old daughter was born, and I just it was kind of your one-stop shop mobile where we came into homes. We provided personal training, core and pelvic floor rehab, nutrition, massage, everything to moms, right? And then I did that for a few years, and I sold it, and then I started with two other business partners, Bellies Inc., which this is part of that. This is our abdominal wrap.
And she gifted me to
her.
Yeah, to get my core back in.
Yeah, and Bellies Inc. is basically your preventative and restorative company for those first 8 weeks postpartum, because what a lot of women do is they'll either work out really hardcore during their pregnancy, doing stuff that probably they shouldn't be doing, or they don't work out at all. And then they have their baby, and then at 6 weeks they go to the doctor, and the doctor gives them a green light to exercise, and then they sign up for boot camp. And I'm just like, and then they wonder why their tummy is the way they are, and they might be leaking. So we've created an online program and product to help people prepare and recover for pregnancy. It's everything that I've learned over the last 15 years, but it's very focused, targeted to moms, but it's online, so that's more flexibility, because moms will have a hard time, like, how do we jive, like, getting people to your house, or you're coming to me, and so as long as you got a laptop and a phone, like, everything's online anyways, right? But these are very strategic, planned programs for them to help rehabilitate their core.
Do you do it individually? Like,
I do it individually.
Or is it a group plan?
I do it individually, but I am launching a group plan very shortly. That's in the works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I should sign up for that.
Yeah, you should. But what I want to say, though, is you said something just as you were introducing me and talking about getting my body back. And here's the thing, which people hate to hear. You're never going to get your body back. Okay? Forget it. And if we just think about this.
Some people get better bodies.
There you go. But you don't get your body back.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you can't be stronger and more functional. So that's
Right.
basically my message, because a lot of women, especially, maybe they were like skinny fat before.
I was skinny fat.
Right? They just had a great metabolism, and they just had good genes, and it didn't matter. They could eat whatever they want. They didn't have to exercise, and then they have a baby, and they're like, what the hell just happened there? Like, why is this here? Why is this not gone? What's going on, right? So a lot of it is education for sure, which I'm glad that I'm here today so I can educate, but it's really from kind of saying, okay, the body I had before is different because I wasn't a mother. Now I'm a mother.
Right.
So all the physical and physiological changes that happen during pregnancy and birth, they certainly do not disappear. I'm sure every woman or every mother who's listening can say, oh yeah, like things just kind of changed. Not quite sure. Your bra might feel a little bit different, fit a little bit differently, your pants, whatever.
Well, people don't realize that I met somebody at Starbucks, and she was, first of all, I thought she was a fitness instructor, and I didn't see the baby was off to the side. She just had a baby. If you're watching, hi. She was gorgeous, and she said to me, we were actually talking about you outside the passage, just made me think of you, and she was like, my hips feel wider, and I saw this, and I'm like, yeah, because you just had a baby. Like your body had to grow and to change to fit the baby.
Of course. But people aren't talking about that enough during pregnancy, excuse me, to prepare women that there's going to be some major shifts, and things aren't going to go, like the baby doesn't come out and everything goes and right back into a nice little package. This is not the way it happens. You walk out of that hospital, you still look very much pregnant. You feel like your bottom was cut from your top. You don't know what you're like. It's like it's like aliens came in and took over, and you're like, what the hell? And then you've got this thing that you have to keep alive, and you're like, wait a second, what just happened? Like 24 hours ago. You know, so yeah, it's a major shift. So my job is to really, or my goal is to really educate women, empower them, and help them build on their strengths. And then what's not strong, retrain, reintegrate, because yes, you can be stronger and more functional than you were before. And it's not abnormal for, you know, women that I work with to go, you know what, I thought I was strong before. I wasn't strong. Right. I just thought I was, because I did some squats or whatever, right? Yeah.
And the thing is that I think, you know, I mean, this is off topic, but I think I guess it relates to your core, is also the way people are picking up the buckets. Like, I got a snap and go. Get a freaking snap and go. Cost $30. Yes. Take the baby on the bucket and pop it in and stop
lifting the entire
taking
stroller
it up
out.
And down with you and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but that affects your core also.
Everything
and,
does.
You know, there's core dysfunction. So tell us about what core dysfunction is. Okay. Is that when you pee on yourself a little bit?
Yeah, there's many factors. So I'll just give you a quick. So your core, it consists of 4 major muscle groups. So your diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle, right? Your transverse abdominis, which is your deepest muscles. You've got 3 layers of abdominals, your transverse and your obliques, and then your rectus abdominis on top, which is your 6-pack. And yes, we all have a 6-pack. You might not be able to see it, but we have it. So you've got your transverse, your diaphragm. Then you've got your multifidus, which are your deep spinal muscles. And then you have your pelvic floor, which is the foundation of your core. So think diaphragm, pelvic floor, transverse, multifidus. So it's like a box. And optimal core function is all 4 parts of this core is working in synergistic patterns. Right. Okay? When our babies are born, everything's working optimally. And, you know, as we go on, but then with all the sitting we do, the lack of movement, the wrong movement, pregnancy, hormones, this can cause a lot of dysfunction. So dysfunction can be diastasis recti, which is separation of the outermost abdominal muscles. So that's the 6-pack muscles that I'm talking about. Leaking, so incontinence. And incontinence is any drop of urine, like 1 drop, that's coming out of your body when you're not sitting on a toilet. That is incontinence. It's not, I just leak.
We're going to make brand new pink and blue diapers.
Right? So, well, because when you say incontinence, people think diapers. No, like it can get to that. Right. And it starts with a little drop that you ignore. Right. And then, you know, you keep going on your life.
It's like when they were in Bad Moms and they sneeze and they're like, I just peed a little bit.
Yeah. And so I appreciate companies like Poise and Always bringing awareness to it. Right. But they're putting on a Band-Aid that doesn't fix the problem. And you add more babies and an incorrect exercise, maybe high impact interval training.
Why aren't doctors assessing it? Like, why aren't doctors, like when you go to your doctor and you get your pap smear, why aren't they?
Because that's preventative. Right. And again, they've normalized this as part of having a baby. I'm sure you leak, no big deal. If it becomes a problem, we'll do surgery. Right. You know what surgery does for incontinence? 45% of those surgeries fail within the first 5 years.
So what do you do?
So you do proper core restorative exercises, which is what I do. That's what I do with my clients. But I also recommend that every woman who's ever been pregnant, whether you've birthed a baby or not, or every woman in general, our pelvic floor muscles are a big part. It's the foundation of our core, I just said. We should all see a pelvic floor physiotherapist.
I haven't gone ahead.
Right? I've been telling you for seven years.
Yeah, you've been telling
right?
me.
So seeing a pelvic floor physio, but
Hashtag mom fail.
right? I'm sure you're not the only one. But you don't want to, I mean, I put my 96-year-old grandmother in a nursing home yesterday, and she's completely incontinent, and she says this is no way to live. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's right, but she didn't wake up one day and had no control of her bladder.
Right.
It started off as a little, then she had more kids, and then lovely hormones and menopause kicked in, and then it's just like, right?
That's crazy.
Right? So,
what the hell do women go through? My God.
I know, we should all be put on pedestals, right?
Right.
But core dysfunction can also be back pain, it can be hip pain, it can be pelvic pain.
Oh,
So
maybe that's why I have so much back pain.
could be,
Wow.
right? So there could give you a number of things because the core is all around top and bottom, and it's our center, right?
It's a whole lot of information, ladies.
It is.
So if you have any questions, does anyone ask any question? Yes? Yeah? No? Shy little lady.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're going to be put up in case you guys missed it. We can take your questions after, so we'll cover you all. So what is the big deal with Diastasis Rectus Abdominis?
Okay, so Diastasis Rectus Abdominis, or DRA, like I said, is the separation of the abdominals. And it's really not as much a big deal as we used to think it was.
Okay.
So when I first met you, it was all about the gap. How wide are my abdominals? How separated? How many fingers can I go in?
I was 7.
She was 7. However,
Yeah.
with the research that, and still there's not a lot of research, but there definitely has been more research and evidence that's come forward, is that we're not so concerned about how wide the abdominals are,
Okay.
but more the integrity of the connective tissue. So what I mean by that is, before you have a baby, your rectus muscles are not fused together.
Okay.
They're kept together by a connective tissue called the linea alba.
Okay.
So when you were
That's
pregnant,
like a line.
did you get the dark line?
Yes.
So that's basically that's the linea nigra. So that's the linea alba showing through with the influences of hormones. So as your uterus grows and and the hormones are raging through your body, this connective tissue starts to stretch and move sideways, and then bringing the abdominals with them to create space
For the baby.
for a baby.
Right.
So
And all your organs just fly out.
well, they don't fly out because there's a baby in there.
Oh,
right?
after the baby.
Yes, yes.
Then it's just like
they don't. Okay. Nikki. There's no organs flying. There's no organs
No,
flying.
they're not
Yes,
flying, but
they're
it
not
just
flying.
pops
Yes,
out.
yes. But so what happens though? So this connective tissue separates and creates space. And there was a small study that said that 100% of women get some degree of diastasis by the end of their 3rd trimester.
Okay.
So we have accepted it in the core and pelvic health industry. Lots of pelvic floor physios
But is
will
it
agree
normal
is that it's a normal part of
But
pregnancy.
isn't it normal, like, some, with the separation going back, I know it's not what you guys use anymore, but with the separation, normal people have 3 degrees of separation
so
or
after?
after, and
Okay.
then, but if you're over a certain number, then it's like,
Okay,
whoa.
great
like-
question. Great question. So if they say 100% of women have some degree of separation, and only about a third of them fully recover.
Okay.
So you are left with the majority of people with some degree of separation, some degree again, and that can vary from individual to individual. You're a tiny person,
Right.
right? And your husband is not tiny.
He is
Right?
tiny.
How tiny? I saw a picture.
It's like 5'4", 5'5".
Oh, is he teeny too? Okay, sorry. So 2 tiny.
We're
people.
just like little
Yeah,
people.
the little people
Yeah.
here. But typically you have a tiny person who doesn't have a lot of space. You're probably going to have more in abdominal separation because your body's going to have to compensate that much more, as opposed to someone who's tall like me. I don't have but who has a longer torso won't, or somebody who's even larger in size
Right.
won't have to have so much of a separation. But in general, I would say after birth, once we've waited so full recovery is usually a good, not 6 weeks, 8 weeks for the abdominals, not for everything else. Everything internal is like 12 to 18 months, okay?
Wow.
But for the abdominals, any spontaneous healing that's gonna happen, this research says it's the first 8 weeks. So I don't assess anyone until at least 8 weeks after I give them. I'm like, don't poke around,
Right.
do all your restorative breathing, wear your wrap, do stuff like that.
Okay, so
And then
when do you do the wrap?
the wrapping, so wrapping is recommended right after birth if you can, or at
Okay.
least within a couple of days, and you would wear it 7 days a week, 24/7. That's the recommendation, but in the reality, you're going to do it as much as you can possibly stand it.
Right.
If it's 40 degrees, if you had a baby this summer,
Right.
there's no way in hell you were going to do that,
Right.
right? You're like a big sweat box already.
Right.
You're going to wear it as much as you can, even if the only times you wore it when there was times of lifting.
Right.
Right? If you're just lying
when I
around,
worked out, I always used
yeah,
it.
you wore it, or you knew you're going to have to be lifting the baby like out of the bucket and stuff like that, then make sure you wear it. Because the whole idea of the wrapping is it does help to support the healing tissues. It helps to align the abdominals while that initial healing is happening. But after those 8 weeks, though, I would say on average, most women are left with about a 3, maybe 4 finger abdominal separation.
Okay.
And that's without any real interventions happening, okay? But then after that, then you really start to enter the retraining phase, right?
Okay.
So instead of, like I said, going to boot camp or, like, it's amazing. Women, we are such amazing humans. It's awesome. We can grow and birth people. But then after we have a baby, we feel so weak and so vulnerable that we need to prove something. So I'm going to sign up for my first 5K.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Does your vagina feel like you should be running a 5K? Sure! I'm going to go to boot camp because all those other mums are doing it. So,
Right.
you know, just like we
Right.
say, if your friend jumped off the roof, would you run off the roof? But anyways,
Right.
right? So, that is not a time. So, but we feel so vulnerable to get approved. Remember, you just birthed a human.
Yeah.
You're amazing. No man can say you've done it. Well, at least not yet. Who knows what's going to
So
happen.
what do you do when it's been, I don't know, 4.5 years later and you still have the mushy belly? Like, People ask me, I was at the pool. Okay, I'm wearing this hot bathing suit. My boobs are like up. It's
pouring out.
Yeah, it's like a nice, finally I have boobs after giving birth to 2 kids. I never had them.
They kind of refill a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so I was very happy. And it was the first day before going back to school, and one of the little kids, I'm like, oh, what grade are you going into? And they're like, do you have a baby in your belly? Well, let's just say I was happy we made some sangria that time.
Yes. You know what? You gotta love kids, right? They have no filter.
But it's still, I feel like I'll never, unless I have like a tummy tuck, I'll never be able to get rid of it.
So we're honest, right?
Okay.
She started the show saying she was honest.
I am.
How disciplined were you with your exercises that I gave you?
I actually still do them in bed. I remember them. You pretend that you're picking up a grape.
A blueberry.
A blueberry, a grape, a blueberry, whatever. With the veg.
Yeah?
And
with the who?
With the veg.
The vagina.
The vagina.
Say the word, vagina.
Then,
she's picking up a blueberry with her vagina. Yes, she is. Well, not a real blueberry.
And then, it's a blueberry.
Yeah.
And then you suck it up and you breathe in and you hold in the whole. No, so I did it all wrong.
Yeah, so no sucking up. When we're working with our core.
Breathe it all in like an umbrella.
When I see someone, because I just saw you once, and I gave you some exercises, doesn't take very long to forget most of what I've said, right? Because you're sleep deprived, you've got kids, you've got life, and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta do that, gotta go, I pick up blueberries. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna start
and then you think it's a grape.
Oh yeah, or you're gonna start picking up pianos, right? The thing is, your core, especially your pelvic floor, again, on average, works at its best only 20% effort. So if you're picking up blueberries, I should not be, if I look at you, I shouldn't know that you're doing that.
Right.
So what we mean, ladies, just in case you're not sure, is when we're talking about picking up blueberries, we're talking about a Kegel, but a lot of women don't relate to that cue of a Kegel.
Right.
And most women do Kegels incorrectly. That's another reason to see a pelvic floor physio.
Right.
Because all they're doing is squeezing.
So when does somebody need to see
all women should, but especially if you've given birth to a baby.
Right.
How do you know how your pelvic floor is working?
Right.
You don't know how it's working.
Okay, so go over the exercise because I think it's important.
Okay, so I am going to show you.
But how even the breathing, just like with the
breathing. So I'll just walk you through it. So if you're whether you're sitting or standing, well, if you could sit, it would be great. And what I want you to do is I want you to pull the flesh away from your butt cheeks, and then I want you to sit on your perineum. Okay, so your perineum is the space between your vagina and your anus. And so you should have a nice natural curve in your low back, right? You're not sitting on your tailbone, you're not slouching. Right?
This is the way I used to sit.
You don't want to sit like that. You're sitting on your tailbone. Yes. So you're nice and long, but you're not thrusting your ribs out either. So keep your ribs down. Your ribs should be over your pelvis.
Okay.
All right? Now what you're going to do is you're going to place one hand on your rib cage, one hand, the other hand on your belly. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that your ribs are like an umbrella.
Okay.
And you're going to inhale, and I want you to breathe sideways and open up your umbrella. Exhale and gently close your umbrella. Don't press it down. You're going to breathe sideways, open up your umbrella, and the overflow will go into your belly. Exhale, close your umbrella, and your belly will just naturally draw in. You're not pulling your belly button in. Pardon me?
Are you making a muscle when you breathe out, or no?
What do you mean you're making
like,
a muscle?
Like, are you just letting it all be mushy, or you?
Yeah. So when you're inhaling, you're expanding. So literally opening up that diaphragm, because diaphragmatic breathing, your diaphragm comes out and down.
Right.
Okay. And
even when I do that, my back hurts.
That's because you must be really, really tight in your diaphragm.
Right.
It should not hurt.
So what do you do?
Right. You do this more, and then you do some diaphragmatic releasing.
We're gonna have to sign up at samcoretrainer.com.
Yes. Yes. Are we going to continue?
Yes.
We're doing the core breath. So one hand on your ribs, the other hand on your belly. So you're going to inhale. I want you to open up. And as you inhale, I want you to feel the pressure of your perineum over the seat. And as you exhale, I want you to close your rib cage and see if you feel any difference what happens. Inhale, let it go, expand. And I want you to melt your perineum over your seat. Exhale, and let the ribs come down. Now, we're going to add one more thing. So I want you to close your eyes. You close your eyes too. So inhale, and imagine you've got a blueberry right at the opening of your vagina. Exhale, close your rib cage, and then pick up that blueberry.
I feel like we're all getting a little closer.
Inhale, let the blueberry go. Let it go, and open up your rib cage. Exhale, close your ribs, and pick up your blueberry. This is the Coles notes. Honestly, I'm sure you can appreciate, like when I do assessments online, it's an hour. I'm going through alignment. I'm talking about the way they stand, they sit, the way they connect. Like you said, when you're taking deep breathing, your back is hurting. So we need to do some lateral coster opening, stretching, doing all of this. And then when I'm asking you to open up umbrellas and pick up blueberries, your brain is like an overdrive, and you're going, what am I doing? What are you talking about?
Right.
And that's why
it becomes automated after a while.
Well, and that's the whole point. And this is called the core breath. And the whole idea is, remember I was talking about that core four, we want to get it working synergistically together. The more and more you do, the more it does become automated. And once that happens, then I start to integrate other more core specific exercises. So get rid of that mushy belly. But you can't do anything targeted until you get that core working optimally. And you no longer have back pain, and you're no longer leaking, and all that other stuff that goes with having a dysfunctional core, which a lot of moms suffer from.
Right.
Or even you don't even have to have babies to have a diastasis or pelvic floor dysfunction, by the way.
And if you do surgery.
So surgery for diastasis is basically a tummy tuck.
Okay.
Right? I don't know if you know it, but basically what they do is they cut you from hip bone to hip bone. So you think if you have a cesarean, if you have a scar, this scar for a tummy tuck is this big. It's right across from hip bone to hip bone. They lift everything up, they bring the muscles together and glue everything down. Okay? You can't lift or do anything for 3 months.
Okay.
It creates a ton of scar tissue after, so you have to do physio. And again, it's doing, it's a Band-Aid. It's not correcting the problem that caused it in the
That's what I was
first
going to
place.
say. If you were in pain, if I'm in pain now with my back and breathing, and then you put your body through that much surgery and whatever and distress, it's just going to make it, I feel like you're going to be in more pain after.
Well, you potentially, yes, especially if you don't do the proper recovery, right? So the studies also show that 66% of people who have diastases have some sort of pelvic floor dysfunction and vice versa. Because remember, our core all works together. The body is smart. If there's one area that's very weak, other parts of our core are going to start to kick in and do the work, what they're not supposed to be doing. So then that gets overworked, right? And so if your back is hurting, it's probably, it's connected with the fact that your abdominals are weak and we haven't got this core. So then if you go into surgery and you don't do all the proper rehab, which by the way, speaking of rehab, if there's any runners out there, if you have an ACL injury, right, and you have surgery, it's mandatory 6 to 8 months of rehab before you can go back to running. You have a baby, and what do we get?
Right. Nothing.
Nothing. There's no rehab required. Nothing.
Right.
You're fine. You're good.
Right.
See you later. Bye.
Right. Thanks, your baby's so cute.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
And when things start falling out, then we'll fix you.
Right.
Right?
So show us some exercises.
Okay, so some exercises. So I walk through the core breath. There's what is his name? Dr. Crawford. Bruce Crawford. He is a Urogyne in the States, and he created a program called Pilates, which is pelvic floor Pilates.
Yeah.
And
we all love Pilates.
Right? And he used biofeedback to see what exercises automatically recruit the muscles of your pelvic floor.
Okay.
And the squat was one of them.
Okay.
Right? So when you're coming down in your squat, what you want to do, so here, come here, you're going to be my model.
I do not like squats.
So I want you to stand so stand like this. Okay, so because I want people to see your profile right there. Great. And see that if you could see the way that Nikki is standing, she's clenching her bum. So the first one I'd like you to do is I want you to back the weight up into your heels.
Okay.
And I want you to bring your perineum between your ankles. So you're going to come like this. Good. And then I want you to blossom your butt cheeks.
Like that?
No. So basically, without you moving your pelvis, I want you just to imagine that you're spreading your sit bones wide.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Let me see here. Yes. How does that feel?
Hurts my back.
Okay.
But I have lower back issues.
Yes. But can you see that she's also standing up straight? When you were standing normal before, shake it out again. She's leaning back. That's part of the reason why your back hurts.
Right.
Right? And as soon
I'm
as
leaning back like this.
you're doing that to compensate, right? And then what happens when we stand in positions like this, our glutes shut off. And our glutes are very, very important, especially when we're doing things like squats.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're in the proper position first.
This is the right way then.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you want to make sure that your shoulders are over your hips are over your knees.
Feels so awkward.
Right, I know. And it feels almost like you're falling forward when you're used to standing like this.
Right.
So now you're going to keep that posture. You're going to make your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. And when you sit back in your squat, I want you to imagine you got a chair behind you. So the bum goes back first, right? And then you come on up. But we don't want your knees to go past our toes. So sit back and hinge forward.
Oh my God.
Good, and then come on up. But when we're doing this now watch, I'm really gonna mess with you, okay? So I want you to squat for me and just listen to my cues.
Okay.
Okay, so sit back. Inhale and expand. Exhale, pick up your blueberry and stand. Okay, and see what she did? She went right back into her posture and she clenched her glutes, right?
I did.
Okay, so do it again. So you know you're gonna, so it's facing forward, you're gonna inhale and expand.
Go down first?
Yeah,
okay.
So inhale. So no, as you're sitting back, I want you to inhale and expand.
Okay, ready?
Okay, so inhale, expand into your rib cage. Exhale, pick up your blueberry, stand up.
That is not easy.
I know, because I'm making you think.
Right.
Typically when people work out and they do exercise, we just go through the movement. We're like, oh my God, when is this going to be done? Right? But now I'm asking you to actually think about the motion. And every time now, I want you to recruit your pelvic floor and engage your core when you're squatting, lunging, bicep curls, all of this stuff.
I thought I was doing that before, but now I realize I wasn't.
No, because I want you to think about it. So when you said you're lying in bed and doing it, I want you to do that breathing when you're coming out of your squat or when you're coming out of your lunge. Okay. Right? So same thing. So let's do a stationary lunge.
Okay.
So you'd stand like this.
Still connected or not?
Okay, so I want you to stand, again, facing that way so people can see your profile. Yeah. And so you're going to have your back leg back and you're up on your toes. So you're standing in a split stance like this, right? And both legs are straight. So I want that front leg even out more. Yep. So same thing. So just do a lunge for me. So you're going to lead with the back leg and press off with the front. Ooh. Oh, someone's going to do more lunges.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then come on up.
But I'm not picking up any blueberries.
So now you're going to. So you're going to inhale and bend the back leg. Okay. Exhale, pick up your blueberry. Now come on up. Yep.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. So you're going to do it again. So you're going to inhale. As you bend the back leg, exhale, pick up your blueberry and come on up.
Wow. And you feel the muscles burning here.
Yes, yes,
I'm doing.
yes. And here, let's do one more.
Then I'm going to get sexy legs.
So this is something that I would love to do if we had a stability ball. So ideally, if you have a stability ball, you will do this exercises. But even some people who are still very unstable or early stages postpartum, they need to have a stable surface. They can't do this on a stability ball.
Okay.
But the beauty of working...
Stability ball.
Oh, okay. Well, I know. It's amazing how these big balls can go disappearing.
I know.
But the stability ball, because it's round, it gives you better feedback against your perineum.
Okay.
But also the instability of the ball, you need to use your core more.
Right.
That's the whole
it's
reason
like
that we
being
use
on a
it.
paddleboard.
Exactly. Because it's unstable on the water.
Right.
So have a seat here.
Okay.
You're flat on the floor. Yep. And again, she's sitting in that proper posture. So she's sitting on her 2 sit bones and her perineum. And then what I want you to do is you're going to inhale and expand. Exhale, pick up your blueberry, lift up 1 foot, just 1 inch off the floor. Oh, way too high. Inhale, put the foot back down. Exhale, blueberry, lift. Inhale, put the foot down. Now I'm going to ask you is after you pick up your blueberry, I want you to imagine you take your 2 hip bones and you bring them towards the midline. So you'll feel like a band of tightness across your lower abs right before you lift your foot. Okay, so listen to me. Okay, so big inhale and expand. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones lift. Inhale, let it all go. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones lift. Inhale and let it all go. So she's holding her breath. Holding your breath, no. Because when we hold our breath, we create more intra-abdominal pressure onto our pelvic organs. That's the last thing you want to do, especially after
when you're making it all like tight.
I know, but you can still breathe through it. So big inhale. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones. Inhale, come down. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones. So when you do that, do you feel, like as soon as I say touch your hip bones together, do you feel like a band of tightness across your lower abdominals?
A little bit, but I have some back pain here.
Okay, so let's do this one more time. So big inhale. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones.
Should I left or not?
Good, yep. Inhale, come on down. Big inhale. Exhale, blueberry, hip bones. Good. Inhale, come on down. So you're doing it correctly because I can feel that everything is drawing in just from the breath. And it's important that when you're exhaling, you're not pulling your belly button to your spine. When you do that, you actually, again, you're creating more intra-abdominal pressure down because the pressure has to go somewhere.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you're always breathing and you're not holding your breath.
I always hold my breath.
Okay, yeah. Do not hold your breath. Right. Yeah, so you need to do some opening in the diaphragm, doing more stretches like that because your back should not hurt you when you're breathing.
Right.
Your diaphragm is a breathing
I'm
muscle.
a hot mess, guys.
You're not a hot mess. So those are really my 3 favorites. So do the core breath, the seated march, your squats and lunges, and really mastering those.
How often are you supposed to do that?
I mean, so the core breath first, I would say you want to do those as many times a day as you can think of it. I don't like saying do 3 times a day, 5 sets of 10 or yeah, and because especially if I'm dealing with a mom who's just had babies or a baby, or she could have multiple babies.
Right.
You could have one day you have all the energy in the world, and the next day like you want to die, right? So you're going to do what you can, but you're going to do what you can perfectly. Right. The second you feel like I can't do this anymore, you're done. Right. Because the whole idea, like we were talking about earlier, is motor patterning. The more you do it, the more you will. This happen automatically. So you do not want to train an incorrect way of doing it.
If moms start, let's say they're breastfeeding, they're getting used to breastfeeding, with a lot going on, they're not sleeping, and they start doing these exercises like 2 or 3 months later.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Or 4 years later.
Put it this way: something is always better than nothing.
Right.
We have to look at this as it is somewhat of an injury of pregnancy and birth. Right. We feel like we're in an injured state.
So should they not do, like, even me being in this stage, should I not be doing regular workouts yet?
I would, as long as it's not exacerbating issues or it's not stalling your progress.
What about like sit-ups and crunches? Aren't those the worst?
Yes, please don't do those.
Yeah.
So crunches and sit-ups, again, this is something else that also has made some changes. They're not horrible if you're taught how to do them correctly, but most people are not. And at the end of the day, so there's, what's his name? Stu McGill. So he's a biomechanic in spine health, and everything that he teaches, so he's also he's a teacher at the University of Waterloo. Everything he teaches is research-based. And he says, when you do a crunch or a sit-up, you recruit less than 20% of your rectus abdominis, and you overload your spine 150%. Wow. So he likes to use the analogy of a coat hanger. He goes, keep doing crunches, and all of a sudden, oh, I hurt my back. Yeah, no kidding. Right. No wonder you have back pain, right? Because you're loading your spine way too much. Our back is supposed to move, but not under that much load.
And what about doing
planks? Planks, again, so that's great. So 80% of recruitment of rectus, and you only load your spine 50%. So that's a much better option. But again, I only progress people to planks. Once you're able to maintain this tension, this connective tissue that's been stretched now, we all want to be able to maintain tension, and can you maintain it in a prone position? Because if you're going into a plank and you see this coning, like you were saying earlier, it's basically your organs are pressing through the separation. So you're not really helping the cause either. Right? But if you've got dysfunction, don't feel like you're taking 2 steps back. You're just finally saying, okay, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to rehab myself. Walking's fantastic. Walking, swimming. I will always say squats and lunges for sure. You're squatting all the time. You're getting out of chairs, cars, whatever that you're doing, right? You need to do these functional movements. Pushing, pulling, these are all great. Such a, doing yourself
when
a
you're
service.
picking up the car seat, I can't stress enough. Bend your knees and pick it up. Don't go like this. And pick it up. That's like the worst thing.
So you're basically
one thing.
Here's the car seat, right? So you're going to inhale and expand. Exhale, pick up your blueberry, lift. And so you're lifting with your legs and engaging your core, right? Instead of being like, I had a call last Christmas and she said, I picked up my son and I felt something drop. Because she just had her baby 2 weeks before, and she went to pick up her toddler, and she felt, so she has a prolapse now.
Wow.
Because she wasn't taught how to engage, and she was, and as far as we're concerned, I mean, unless you don't have help, and I get it, but in a perfect world, you shouldn't be doing any heavy lifting at all after you've had a kid. You shouldn't.
Even if you had a vaginal birth.
Yeah, even if you had a
vaginal birth. I said it, vaginal.
Yes.
Yes. So we are over time. It is 1:24. I don't know if you.
Okay.
You're okay. But
oops, yeah.
I just wanted to ask the last question. What is the best ab rehab program?
The best ab rehab program? My program, of course.
Yeah.
So on samcoretrainer.com, at the top of the website, ab rehab, I just launched that about a month ago, and it's fantastic, and it takes you through all of this. And I actually give everybody a free downloadable PDF. It's called Core Foundation. So everybody gets that free when you purchase any of the ab rehab programs. So it walks you through the core breath, all the basic foundation that I really want you to master, and then it slowly starts to add in more load and increase intensity. And then by the end of it, if you do all 3 levels, you will have a very strong core.
I think I'm going to sign up. So all of you, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Follow her at Sam Core Trainer on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And Twitter. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to private message me or comment below. And I will see you next week, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.